Good afternoon. My name is Nazira Fatimah Sulaksana. I'm number 6 and now I want to explain about few things or few points related to Indonesia. So the first point is how the political situation in Indonesia. So Indonesia is a country which has republic and presidential system of government with parliamentary character. And Indonesia is led by president and vice president, and the current president and vice president are Mr. Joko Widodo and also Mr. Ma'ruf Amin. And in carrying their duties, the president and vice president are helped by Minister of Republic Indonesia. And also Indonesia uh, consists of 34 autonomous provinces. So every province in Indonesia is led by governor, and also every region in Indonesia is led by DPR or DPD, and then every cities in Indonesia is led by mayor. And general elections to choose the president, vice president, and also to choose the DPR, DPD, governor, and also the mayor are held every 5 years. And also the second point is I want to explain about the corruption cases in Indonesia. And I think the corruption cases in Indonesia is still very bad and also still very high cases, because there are so many state officials are irresponsible of their jobs, and they are very greedy, and also they are just concerned of themselves instead of the Indonesian citizen. And the most current examples of corruption cases in Indonesia are first is the Minister of Fisheries and Maritime Affairs, who corrupts the export of lobster seeds. And also the second cases is um, uh, Minister of Social Affairs, who corrupts the social funds for the COVID-19 pandemic victims. And the third point the third point that I want to explain is why there are so many motorcycles in the street in Indonesia. There are many reasons why there are many motorcycles in Indonesia. So the first reason is, of course, because Indonesia has very huge population in the world, especially. There are about 280 million people population in Indonesia. So that's the first reason. And the second reason is because of motorcycles is easy transportation for most Indonesian people. And the third reason is because of um, motorcycle or motorbike is very cheap transportation, is very affordable transportation, and also is very efficient transportation for most of Indonesian people. So that's why there are so many motorcycles or motorbike on the street in Indonesia. So the fourth point is I want to explain about why Balinese people are dominantly Hindu. So because in the past Bali was isolated from the trade routes that spread Islam. So and also Hinduism came to Bali during the arrival of Indian traders, and long before Islam, Hinduism became the core of beliefs by people using rituals and arts and traditions. So that's why Balinese are dominantly Hindu. So the fifth point, I want to explain about how culture and modern life uh, live in Bali. So I think uh, Bali, even though now we are in the globalization era, we are in a modernization era, but the culture in Bali is still preserved by Balinese people. And also now the modern life is influenced by the tourists from Western who come to Bali. So I think Bali still have a very strong culture. Bali still very have unique culture, arts, um, yeah, arts that's still preserved until now. And besides, the tourism in Bali is also uh, help the culture, help the culture, in preserving culture. So the sixth point is how Balinese people keep their tradition and culture. So I think Balinese Hindu believe in power of nature, and Balinese believe that each element is influenced by spirits, and the spirits and ancestors are very highly appreciated by the Balinese Hindu. And besides, why Balinese culture and tradition are still preserved until now is because of the tourism sector become the main sector in Bali. Yeah, as we know that there are many tourists from all over the world who come to Bali to see the uniqueness of Bali's culture, to see the the tradition of Bali that still exists until now. So I think that's why the tourism in Bali is still exists, still preserved by Balinese people, and that's how the Balinese people keep the culture and tradition. Um, yes, through the tourism, uh, Balinese people can preserve. So so that's why that's so that the tourism, the culture and tradition uh, can be main uh, attraction for the tourists from all over the world. So the last point is why only in Bali tourism is so famous. I think because Bali has its own attractive. Bali has very beautiful nature. Bali is very unique culture and tradition that still exists, that, that's still preserved until now. And besides, um, Bali also uh, besides the Balinese people are also active in develop the tourism in Bali, so it becomes the main sector. The tourism becomes the main sector in Bali. For example, here in Uluwatu, the Balinese people in Uluwatu, they grow tourism. They develop uh, every tourist attraction in here. So that's why the tourism in Bali is famous because the people in Bali are active to develop the tourism. And Also, um, what about the other parts of Indonesia? I think now the other part of Indonesia is start to grow the tourism, to develop tourism like in Bali. For example, now Indonesia also famous for Labuan Bajo, and also other region in Indonesia develop tourism like in Sulawesi, in Kalimantan, and other islands in Indonesia. And yeah, I think in the near future, tourism will be very important sector. I think that will be the first sector, main sector in Indonesia. Yeah, I think um, that's all about my explanation related to Indonesia. And thank you very much. Um, Good afternoon.